You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another game review. This time I'll be reviewing Beavis and Butthead in Virtual Stupidity. My review will be somewhat unique in that I actually played a version of the game I could not understand, because I played the PS1 version, which is a Japanese exclusive. There are no subtitles, there is no choice to play with the English audio track, so it is all Japanese dubbed, and so I don't know what the hell any character is saying. This did add a comedic effect, hearing Beavis and Butthead dubbed into Japanese. The audio cast was definitely some weird choices. None of the voices really fit to me. Now, you could argue that's just because, I've watched Beavis and Butthead for years, so I'm so used to the voices, but some of them seemed really out of place. Now, Virtual Stupidity is like the one Beavis and Butthead game that people tend to like when they've played it, and obviously it did have a US release on PC, and that's the version most people have played. So, again, I played a very unique and obscure version of the game that most people haven't played, because again, the PS1 version is Japanese exclusive, it's kind of obscure, I bet a lot of people don't even know it had a PS1 port. But despite all that, let's talk about the gameplay itself. So, Virtual Stupidity is a point-and-click adventure with a few different mini-games in it. Piecing together the plot, you do have to help Todd get a car. I think you help him steal a car and repaint it to be his. That's sort of the end goal of the game by the end of it, so you can join Todd's gang. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that, because maybe it was Todd's car that got taken and repainted, and then you had to paint it back. I don't think that's the case, because you did have to replace the license plates with Todd's license plates. But anyway, you help Todd get this car, and that's like the end game. But along the way, there's multiple different things, because the whole point of the game is Beavis and Butthead, obviously, as usual, want to join Todd's gang. The game starts you out in the school, and you have to solve a puzzle to escape the school. You have to get a hall pass, show it to the teacher. You have to go up on the roof and hawk loogies down onto Principal McVicker to get him to come inside so you can leave the school because he's guarding the exit. Took me forever to figure that out. I beat this game over the course of 2 streams and 1 video on the second channel. Now, the 2 streams, only really one of them was dedicated to the game, and the video on the second channel is just 15 minutes of gameplay I was just planning to use for, random thoughts in the future. In the game, you can grab items, you can walk to places, you can interact with items, you can use items, and you can talk to people. So, there's grab, there's walk, there's item, and there's talk, right? Those are the different functions you can use. I'm gonna be honest, there's no point for the walk function, because just by default, you should always have the grab function used, because that's how you interact with anything. And if you click interact, it'll walk you to wherever you're clicking, so there's really no point to have the walk button. Except for to do the Easter eggs, because this game actually does have a handful of Easter eggs that require pixel-perfect clicks with the foot icon to do, such as Butthead blowing off Beavis's head with a shotgun, them launching a nuke, Beavis killing a guy in a cow mask through the slaughterhouse, cool shit like that. Technically do control Beavis and Butthead. I would say you more accurately control Butthead, because Butthead is the one that does most of the walking. In fact, a lot of the time, Beavis will wait. He'll move if you move far enough away. But, if you leave a screen, a lot of the time Beavis will just stand there and then just load in on the next screen. The game also uses the copyright-free versions of their shirts with the skull and Death Rock, although in actual gameplay, there's no designs or graphics on the shirts. But the mini-games included, there's Hawkaloogie, which, as I said, you have to use to escape the school after solving a puzzle to get up to the roof in the first place by using the hall pass on the teacher, using a jump pad to jump onto a rope and pull it down to lower a ladder, using a stick to jam into a ceiling fan so you can slide down a vent after you spit on McVicker. And then the other mini-games are Bug Hunt, which you don't actually have to do. It's called Bug Hunt on the guide I was looking at, because I did use a guide in the second stream where I actually beat the game all on that stream, simply because, again, it's in Japanese, so I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Plus, it's kind of cryptic puzzles that you have to put shit together and shit, so I just needed the guide. I might have been able to pull it off in English, but it would have taken me a minute, so the guide did help me complete it, full disclosure. But in the guide, they refer to it as Bug Hunt, but in the actual game, it's called Bug Justice, so I don't know why the guide says Bug Hunt, but there you go. There's an air guitar one, where you just, play notes on air guitar and you can record it and listen back to it. And obviously the sound effects for the air guitar, Beavis and Butthead doing their da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that kind of thing, right? The shit they do. And interestingly, that wasn't dubbed. That was their original voice. I guess because it's not dialogue, they didn't bother to dub it with the Japanese voice actors, so it's kind of jarring to hear the weird new voices and then actually hear Mike Judge's voice when you're doing the air guitar. Then there is a tennis minigame, which is basically a rail shooter where enemies pop up and you have to shoot them with tennis balls before they hit you, and once you run out of health, it's game over. The tennis one is called Court Chaos, and on the wiki they also call Bug Hunt Bug Justice, so I don't know why the guide I used called it Bug Hunt, but there you go. So anyway, another interesting little feature you can do is you can actually watch music videos on the TV that Beavis and Butthead will then react to. A cool little feature I like about the game is you actually unlock more of the map as you progress through the game. At first you can only go to the school, Beavis and Butthead's house, Burger World, which you can't actually go into at the start, and the park. And then as you go on, you unlock places like a coffee shop, the Veterans Association building. Eventually you do unlock the interior of Burger World, a taxidermist, a prison. The game also has some cool references to some episodes. In the prison, you encounter some of the criminals from the show, including Kyler, you know, the killer who does the tattoos. The graphics of the game already look pretty good, but the game itself does have animated cutscenes in the style of the show that are pretty fun to watch. I honestly am probably at some point going to look those up in the English version because they were pretty cool, but obviously I have no idea what anyone was saying because it was in Japanese. But yeah, you have to progress through the game doing a series of things like trying to get nachos, stealing a tank and then being sent to prison and then having to break out of prison. Overall, the game is a lot of fun with a good variety of the puzzles, and the mini-games are a nice way to mix it up. And there's a lot of cool little fun interactables that are optional. In fact, the only minigame that is actually required to progress is the Loogie Hawk one. You don't actually have to do any of the other minigames. It's a pretty short game. I beat it in 2.5 hours on the second stream. Again, I had done a lot of the school stuff on the first stream, which I only did maybe 20 to 30 minutes of. So it probably took me around 3 hours to beat, but realistically, I think it could easily be beaten like a half hour if you know what you're doing, because I didn't actually start using the guide until after I had progressed a little bit and left the school and started to do some of the other stuff. And like I said, even though some of the puzzles and stuff can be kind of cryptic, I'm willing to bet that they might give you hints verbally in the dialogue, but again, since I couldn't understand it, the guide was kind of essential for it. But it's definitely a lot more of a fun experience to play through than the Super Nintendo or Genesis games. Not that I have a problem with those, I actually think those are kind of underrated, but they're also kind of irritating, janky, and difficult. Whereas this one is just a simple point-and-click adventure, so it was pretty easy to, play. But yeah, it's not like the best game ever, but I do think it is probably the best of the Beavis and Butthead games. I say this without having beat any of the others, but this one I do think does capture the show pretty well with the cutscenes, the option to watch music videos, the fun little gags you can interact with, and all the nice references to the show. Overall, I really enjoyed playing it, and it was a very unique experience playing the Japanese exclusive PS1 version of it. I would recommend playing it, but if you are going to play it, maybe play the PC version so you know what the characters are saying and get the actual voice actors. You know, I mean, unless you're Japanese and you speak Japanese, then you could play this version too, I guess. But again, the PC American version would probably be the one I would recommend, but it is a fun little curio playing this weird, obscure, Japanese-only port of it, so I do think that does add a layer of uniqueness to my playthrough. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. This has been Fugitive Red Eye. Have a good one. Toodles.
Oh my god! Frosty killed Kitty! Dude, I told you not to put that fucking hat on Frosty's fucking head, now didn't I? Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Rocket fucking Scientist.
What are you doing? Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.